We're live again. Welcome everyone. Let's see if we can get some ESP microcontrols going. So please let me know if the sound or music is high or low. I haven't really figured out a good way to measure if my sound is, well, good or bad. Because the sound I hear is the same that goes out to the stream. Alright, let's see and get... Hi Stefan, yeah, we're back on Twitch. So Twitch started with this new category called software and game development like last Friday. So I had to get back and try that and see if maybe someone enjoys it. So let's see. How's the sound, by the way? Can you hear me good, and is the music at a good level? Alright, cool. So let's dive into our failed button project. And I'm gonna make sure I have the chat here too. There we go, and some notes. That should be good. Hi Jens, welcome. So here is the ESP32 project. We have the sketch. It's a microcontroller. Connect some power out to this two lines, and then back here, and then we have negative or ground connected to a LED and a button, and the LED is connected to a resistor, and then that goes down to one pin, and the red here goes up to the button, which is to another pin. So fairly basic. So far I have a LED controller that can blink the LED, so whenever I reboot this, it will just light up until it boots, and when it's done booting it will blink 10 times and then will turn off. So that kind of works, and I can run code simultaneously as the blinker is blinking, so I'm happy with that. Now I need the button to do stuff, and it's super annoying that it doesn't work the way I want it to. So let's see what we got so far. I have defined a button class in this header file. So I'm using this free artist, which is a thing for getting task support, and we're using the Arduino library. And then we have this configuration type object, which contains some configuration for our button. So far it has a pin and a number, like a pin number, which pin the button is connected to, or which pin we should listen for, a counter, how many times the button has been pressed, and a variable that it is pressed and its previous state, if it was pressed the last time we checked. So we have some private properties. It's a task handle that we can use to keep track of the task that will do things. We have a static button event method that I haven't even been using yet, and then an initialize method that was, the plan was for the initialize method to kind of configure and start the whole button controller. And then we have some public, so we have a name of the button, we have the configuration that is of type button config, and we have this interrupt routine, which is a method that is using this IRAM attribute, and that makes the CPU store the method in IRAM, which is like faster memory basically. We have a few constructors, and we have a start, stop, and remove method. So that was the plan. And then I try to implement this in my CPP here. And as you can see, there's a lot of red squigglies. And the problem here is that I have my initialized class. So my goal is that the user of this class should just say, create a new button. Say I want to listen on this pin, and here is the task I want to trigger whenever the button is pressed. However, it doesn't work because it requires this ISR routine or interrupt routine. This can't take any parameters, and apparently, so I've been trying to do a lot of weird stuff here, but let's just remove this because that's not working, and also remove the same thing here. So now we have an initialize method that takes nothing. And then we set the pin mode, say whatever pin that we're using for the button pin, that should be set for input. So use it as input, and then we create this interrupt routine and say to the microcontroller that we want to get a interrupt number or slot for our button pin, and whenever the button is pressed, whenever there's a change event on the button, so whenever it changes state, just call the thingy, the handler up here. So I would like to do like button press interrupt like this. Problem was that doesn't work because I did not have this as static. So I had it like this. It's gonna turn red here, and this said it's an invalid thingy because it takes a parameter of an object that is of type button. And apparently this is like a thing for member method. So whenever you create a class and have a method on that class, apparently it takes like a hidden parameter of this, like the actual object, and that is what makes it possible for it to interact with our object. So my plan was to just have this method and have this method be able to just write to the configuration inside the class. That way I can, like, every time I create a new button instance, that button instance hold its own state and configuration and everything. But apparently that doesn't work, and apparently we need to have a really global interrupt routine. I don't know if I'm a fan of that. I don't even know if I can, maybe I can create a global routine from here. Just interrupt. Who knows? Okay. So that works. Hi Hayden, welcome. So yeah, a Tesla button. Right now, this is my Tesla button. It's not much of a button at all. But the thing is, when I'm done with this, I'm gonna press the button. I'm gonna have a fancy button with like a lid you can open and press the button, and there are gonna be some lights, and then it's gonna connect to Wi-Fi and talk to my serverless API in Azure, which is written in PowerShell. And that will trigger my orchestration that will prepare my Tesla car for takeoff. So I'm trying to figure out how to build a microcontroller that has a button that can trigger my takeoff routine for my car. It will basically start the climate. If it's cold outside, it's gonna defrost the whole car, and as soon as the car is fairly warm, it's gonna turn off the defroster and just go for comfort heating. And if it's really hot outside, it's gonna cool down the car, and once the car is fairly comfortable, it will just go to comfort heating. And if I hadn't entered the car in like 20 or 30 minutes, it will just turn everything off again to not waste battery if I'm not connected to a charger. So that's a Tesla button. And yeah, at the moment it looks like this. It's hopefully going to be a lot cooler once I have the software working. I'm currently trying to build, so I could probably build this in a really simple sketch, just putting it on a button, and that would probably work. But I'm trying to learn C++, so I'm challenging myself and trying to do every step or part of this thing as a reusable component, so I can easily reuse that component in any future project. I have no idea if it's a good idea or a bad idea, but it's kind of fun. And now I'm trying to figure out how to build the actual button support. So how can I have a reusable component that basically listens to a button, or like if I have a button and then I want to have a routine that is controlled by that button in a good reusable way. And I've been googling and I actually haven't found any reasonable implementation of this, so maybe I am totally off and this is not how I do things. Or maybe no one has just bothered to do something reusable for ESP32, which is this chip, because I don't know, most people just do it simple. Alright, so this could probably work. Problem is, if I do this and I create more than one instance of my button, then I will call the same ISR every time, which kinda sucks. So I'm thinking I have to rethink this whole interrupt routine thingy. I guess there are a few things we can do. Either we can just say leave it up to the user to define the ISR routine in the global scope and then just give us a pointer to that. And yeah, I think that should work. Although I don't know how to take a pointer to a function. So I think I saw someone do something when I read up before. Yeah, so I can either take a function here and just pass that on here, so the user has to define the function. Don't know if I'm super into that. Another way is to wonder if I can dynamically do a function based on the pin number. That would be cool. So I define a method that has the name of the pin, and then I can like dynamically. That seems like some weird logic. Yeah, let's see if we can find a good Google answer on how to take a function parameter. Let's go to good old Google. Whoops. Cookies. So ESP32 function pointer as parameter. Okay. So what do we do here? This is the user-defined interrupt. That is exactly what we're looking for. And then small. Let's zoom in a bit. So I wrote some class that handles some SPI device. Mainly it was written under non-RTOS environment, trying to adapt ESP to RTOS. This was a lot of questions, but I think we're on a good track. I suppose build that core 0. Just look on this. Okay, so what is he doing? He has a user-defined interrupt. If task handle null, do nothing. Okay, so this is a global handler. Oh. And then he has this flag with higher priority task woken, and then he does a notify. You pass in the task handler and the flag, and if the flag is true, then the task was awoken, and then he will yield, which basically says I'm done. Don't need any more CPU power, I guess. Alright, and then he has a setup. He do an emute begin, so he creates his class, I guess. And then he creates a task. Here is his task function, but where does he use the user-defined interrupt? Not here. Okay, sure, I got it, and there seems to be no answers. Sure, anyone else got it either. Here we go, use standard function versus plain C style function pointer. Okay. there has to be a way to pass a function as a parameter. They're using a lambda. I wonder if that would work. I wonder if I think I do a lambda like this. And then I can do probably need some kind of parameter anyway here. Wonder if this is a unsigned integer 8 type pointer. C plus ESP32 method lambda parameter. Alright, so there's a standard function that I can use. That looks like this. Okay, let's try that. Constant standard function void. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, in this case I need a void and I'm gonna call it f. Let's call it lambda. Okay, let's try that. Actually, it might work. So, no, not that one. Well, in my initialize, there it is. It might need to be public in the end. We'll see. Here we go, and then I should be able to just supply that lambda. Okay, so that wasn't good enough, but apparently I can do this. So I need a pointer to some function of void. And this is a function of void, but I'm uncertain what this is. Oh well, I guess I just have to do this outside somehow, or what about my What if we do this then? And do lambda. Doesn't exist here, right? No, because this one is here and that one is in the scope. Oh well, out of ideas. What a terrible thing. So what else can we do? We can... Yeah, I guess I can't do this in a functional way. I could create a task that constantly looks for the value of my button, and then whenever my button change, I can change some kind of state. So if I have like 10 states and the button is 0 for 5 loops, then I press the button and it will be like it's pressed and then 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 it's, yeah, like this. And once it's pressed for 10 loops, it will or maybe when it's pressed for 9 loops, I could trigger something and that could be a change. Totally different approach, but I guess it might work. Let's try to do that. So let's take away this part and this part. Here we go. Now the initialize is compatible. Let's set the pin mode to pull down, input pull down, and let's see, I think I have a task here somewhere. Don't need this anymore. Button press interrupt. That is the ISR. I don't think I need that either. Here is my button event. So this is the task I will spin off in its own process, and it will just loop. So don't think I need to make that volatile. I'm going to make a... So this takes a button configuration as parameter, and then it says... Yeah, so I probably need a button configuration that contains some kind of... I wonder if I can have like a bool binary byte array C++ byte array. The byte array, it's sorry, I need bit array, binary, whatever you call it, bits, bit field, bitwise, bit shift. What's bit set? Stores bits. Awesome. Class emulates an array of bool elements but optimized for space allocation. Generally, each element occupies only 1 bit. Awesome. Let's do that. So standard bit set. I wonder if I can just, whoops, if I can just use that. Is there like a... explanation? Maybe, no? bit set bits equals to bit set value bit. Define bit set. Okay, so I want bit set. I want 10 values of 1 bit. Okay. That didn't work. That was the method to set the bit, probably. Class bit set. C++ bit set. Of course, we need to include it too. Let's put it here. Do like this. So let's create a bit set of length. I don't know what's reasonable. 10 maybe? And call that button state. Okay, I wonder if it's initialized with 0. No one knows. B1. This is going to be printed out to stream. B1. Okay, I'll put B1 0. Awesome. So now we have a set of 10 zeros. Now what should I do with it? I need to do something about it. I need to loop, and for every loop I need to set something. Okay, so here we loop forever. And we do this button config, and I wonder if... So actually for each loop I want to shift my whole button config dot button state. Did I call it that? State. Oops. Come on, copy. clipboard thingy copy. So I have my state. Okay, that's not the pointer. Here we go. And there should be some shift. Force binary shift left and shift right. So if I do shift left, maybe there should be some example of that here, I hope. Flip set. So this one shifts everything right. What if I do this? And I guess that is number of positions to shift. So shift this one. Let's comment this out. And just say shift this once and then do button config dot button state, and I want to set the last bit. Whoops. Where did my chat go? Docs, chat. There we go. Sorry. Now I want to set flip set position true false. Dot set, and the first one should be the position. It should be 1 0 1 1 to the button state, and that should be I actually don't read the button state here, which is kind of funky. I guess I can do digital read. And then the pin, which should be then config.button pin. So I'm gonna shift everything left once, and then I'm gonna set the last bit or first bit or whatever you least significant bit. And then I'm going to see if so I'm gonna okay, how do I do this? So I want to compare this with something assert. No, I don't want to. I want to compare it to a bitmask. That's a bitmask. 0B0010. Okay. So if button config dot button state equals 0B 0B00. Okay, so if it's all zeros. Actually, if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If so, I would like to do this dynamic. So my plan is if the set is all ones but the most significant one, then that means that we changed the bit. It was 0 and then we changed it and we appended 9 ones, and that means it's been 1 for a while. And if it's been 1 for a while, then we count that as a press. And if it's been 1 and it becomes 0 for a while, then we count that as a release. Although now I'm hard coding 10 bits here. So if I were to change the size of my bit thingy, that would break the whole thing. So I might want to create a new bit thingy based on the size of my first bit thingy. Consider using dynamic size on reference bit set. Maybe I should do that here. All right. So if I have this pattern, that means I press the button. So I'm just gonna do serial print line button pressed. And if the button is pressed, I'm going to do stuff. And while I'm doing stuff, I actually don't want the button to do anything, but I guess it won't because we won't keep looping. So let's just do a vtask delay here and just say wait for 2 seconds. That will just emulate running something. Good. Else if this thingy, but this time I'm going to do 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I'm going to do serial. I haven't installed my Copilot here, that's why I don't get any cool completions. So we should just do this. And do button released. Don't think I need a delay here. I should probably just kick off a task somewhere else because I want to be able. Do I don't know. Let's decide on that later. Alright, and then we just wait for some time. So how often should we check this? If we check this 10 times a second, I need to press the button for 0.9 seconds before it actually triggers. That's way too long. I don't know how long is reasonable. So if I do 10 milliseconds, then that would be 90 milliseconds. So if I do, I don't know, 3 or 4 times that much, maybe this. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Digital write. I think we're going to use digital read actually. And X task create. Yep. And we have this. We create it with a name. If we get the name, we do that. I don't think we need to call initialize anymore. Let's remove those. See what happens. And this thingy takes a button config and a name. I should probably take 2 methods too. 1 for each event. Oh well. We'll do that later on. I don't think we need this at all. And this is the button event task maybe. And we should take this and say button event task. So this is a private task and we want to show it to anyone. And then we have a name, the configuration. We don't need this interrupt anymore. We have the constructors and we have the start, stop, and remove. All right. This should be working, I hope. And then we have the start. Something like that. We create a task, which is the event task. We give it a name, we give it stack size, and we send in the configuration. We give the parameter 1. And we need a handle, and we had a handle in our this thingy. So let's just. Ooh, we didn't have a handle here. Need to fix that later. So I'm guessing we can do task. What was the task handle? It should be a pointer. Okay, so there we go. Now we have a task handle. So if task handle is null, create a task, otherwise resume the task. Button stop. If task handle is not null, suspend the task. If remove, if it's not null, delete the task. And then we have the initialize that we don't need anymore. Oh, yeah. Maybe we do. I think we need to set this. It will work. Let's go to our main here. This is our actual program. We have our pins defined here. We do a serial begin. Shouldn't need this anymore because I'm setting that in the class. Oh, actually, that's the status LED pin. Let's leave that. And then we're gonna print the whole LED configuration. We're gonna change the LED configuration. We're gonna print it again, and then we're gonna start blinking. So here somewhere I want to say button. Am I using? Yep, including a button. So button. How did I do the other one? Yeah, I need a global. Here we go. Global my button. That's the one. So my button dot configuration dot button pin should be equal to the recent button pin. What else? What else? Not use these anymore. They can stay there for a while. So I want to start my blue LED, and then I want to do my button dot start. So that should start listing for the button, and then we're gonna blink the whole thing for 10 times and stop it and remove it. Might be working, maybe. Let's try it out. So this font is huge. Okay, that seems to work. Let's try to upload it to my controller. It's doing stuff. So here's my controller. And let's attach to it so we can see it's blinking. And let's press the button. That did nothing. But the blink seems to be working. Alright. So let's just make sure serial print line blue LED. No, sorry, button. Here, and we're going to do my button.configuration dot button pin. Like this, and I wonder which pin I'm using. So it's, yeah, I think it is the number 5. Where do I set this thing? Pin mode. What if I try to do this and put the whole pin mode out here? I'm not sure if let's put it where we have our button. My button. So here I should be able to say my button.configuration.button pin is input pull down. What if I do digital read this thing? And say serial print line. So that should just print the state of the button. We can actually do that here too. And maybe just for debug purposes we should do something here, like serial print line. Button config.button state. Wonder if I can turn that to string. So bits can be printed out to string. That's not what I want to do. To string. Let's do that. Hardware serial. So I have this button state, I want to make a string out of it, and no instance or of overloaded function hardware serial print line matches the argument list. Argument types are basic string of char. What if I do like message? No suitable conversion to basic string. Google set serial dot line ESP32 maybe. So bit set writes a bit. That's not what I want to do, but apparently you can print bit X, and bit X is a byte array. What if I do this? Okay. Not allowed to do that either. Bit right. Okay, so this is using a byte instead. I wonder if I can bit shift a byte. Language reference, bits and bytes. Bit bytes, bit shift left. So here they're using integers for. I'm not sure if that is gonna work. This seems way too complex. Okay. Bits to byte takes a byte and returns bit read. There has to be a way to. Where are we? Here. Nope. Yeah, whatever. So I can. Oh, but I wanted a string. String, come on. Yep. Done this. Super frustrating, come on. Wonder if I can do printf. State is string. Maybe it should be, I don't know. Let's try that. So problem is this will write something a lot. We'll see what happens. So let's press this button so I can enable uploading. Compiles at least, that's a good start. Alright. So starting task, task running my button blinking, kernel panic, exception unhandled. Name is blue LED 1, button pin 5. So let's have a look. Reset button pin 5 and we print name is blue.name. That works. And then we do this button pin and then we set the input pull down and then we do a digital read and say the button pin is 1. We start the task, we write out the button pin. That's starting the LED. And this is starting the button. So I'm guessing this is where we crash. And let's press the button and interrupt. Come on. Stop. Yeah, so whenever I press the button, it's 0. Alright, so at least we do something. It never even says starting task. Starting task. Yeah, it does. It's the same problem as we had before where name was empty. How did I solve that here? So I did name states LED name. Okay. And button name button handler name. Okay. So apparently this doesn't work. What if I do like button config and then I do button config button config. Shouldn't do a lot of difference, but let's try it out and see what happens. Okay, crashed. Come on, stop it. Stop it. Starting task. Okay, so name is null. Here I am printing the name. So what if I do this? Okay, so the name is my button. Name here apparently isn't my button. So here I do starting task and I print name and I use the name. What's the char name? Char name. What if we open up the LED side by side? Who's this one? Start, print, starting task, print name. doesn't know. What if we just do this? Starting task, nothing. Task running. My button. Oh, I'm starting task my button and then I'm blinking and then refreshing. Low prohibited acceptance handled. Let's skip starting this and just start that and see if it makes it easier. Do a last try before we give up for tonight. So button pin, my button, starting task, my button. And then we get an unhandled exception. Okay. So I'm thinking somewhere here. We're casting this parameter as a so here we send in the configuration and the configuration configuration. Yeah, that should work. What if we this and say button task is running, then we do the infinite loop and oh, actually this is dereferencing. So this is creating a copy of parameter and it won't actually what if I want to have a pointer to a button config? That seems to work. And then we should be able to do this, I hope. And then I probably don't need to do this on each loop. I should be able to just reference it here. And then we should be able to do a new message saying button task. Okay. Starting. Loop. Okay, so my button starting task, my button task is running parameter case starting loop. Right. So let's do serial print line loop. Like this, and then we do the bit shifting, and then we do the bit thingy here, and then we do bit it. One line at a time. Okay, let's see a crash loop. And it says bits of it, then it crashes. That's good. Or well, it probably means that this is the thing that crashes. We can't cast this as a whatever. What if we do serial dot println this thingy, and we do like A2 onside long. Just want the bits, how hard can it be? ESP32, what is that called? So we called it didn't I like include bit set? Yeah. So standard bit set serial print. C string. What's that simple? Where are we? To string dot c string stack that. Come on now. Whoop! Look at this. Haha, it works. Can you see? So whenever I press it, it starts to shifting to 0. Right. So but it's actually when it goes to 1, I think it's released. And then here is pressed. However, it seems to never let's see, binary compare, did I have a bit set here? Compares the contents. Maybe I need to do sets the bits in the result of the binary and on corresponding pairs of bits of this and other. Okay, so it seems like I can't do like this. I probably need to It's a 16 pattern string 101. It's compare. Where were we? Here. L to U long. Alright, so here they convert them to unsigned longs and compare them. Okay. Okay, so we have two bit sets, it's 101 and 101, and then we comparison operator equals to, not equals to, so let's close this one and just create a here, maybe private. Need to send it into the here even. So we have a button state. What if I can do like a constant bit set of 10? That is first state equals to 0b this thingy. Okay, seems to work. And then we need release state. One, two, three, four, oops. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Selected. 10 selected. Awesome. And then here we should compare it to button config dot restate. This should be rest state. We don't need this anymore, and let's skip that one. And let's pause here for 2 seconds just to make sure that we don't miss it. Probably it's enough for 1 second. Whoops. Let's go. It's way past my bedtime, but I'm guessing it's somewhere. Okay, so it detects my presses. And now it's starting to look a bit weird. Stop. Oh, that's probably because I'm getting into the loop, right? Yeah. Okay, so we're doing things. It's just not working. One more time. Okay, so it's never 1110. What is it I'm looking for? So the last bit is actually always 0. That's annoying. And that also means it can never have any of these. Alright, that's the problem. So let's look at this. We start by shifting everything left once, and then we set the Oh yeah, so when I'm shifting left once and I press the button, I get zeros all the way. So I should actually at some point have 1 followed by 9 zeros. So press state, yeah. So this should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 selected. This should be the press state. And the release state should be if I try to okay, so for some reason this one is always 0, which is kind of annoying. But this is the release state I'm looking for. I wonder if I set position 1. What if I do position 0? That could be it. Come on. Alright, so I press it and I get the button pressed. And then I release it and I get button released. It works. Awesome. Now I just need to make sure to initialize it. At full once. Like that. Yeah. Suddenly my stream deck rebooted. Not sure if that is a good thing or a bad thing. Wonder if I just flashed my stream deck. So it works. Pressed, released. Pressed, released. So now if I just do like a really quick press, let's see if I can. Okay, so it triggers a release, but no press. Okay, so I don't want to trigger a release unless something has been. So let's go back here and say So let's change this. Let's do if this is pressed state. Then we're gonna do something. And then if it is released state. Okay, and then we're gonna take this thing, okay, put it here, and take this thingy and put it there, and if it is pressed, we're gonna say button config dot is pressed equals to true. And then we're gonna do if it is pressed and we get the release pattern, then we're gonna trigger a release. I actually think I'm really happy with that. So thank you for hanging out with me, and hope I'll see you next week. Thank you very much, and good night.